And this is Maggie. Today I'll be looking at the chart of Colin Jost. He's a stand-up comedian, actor, and writer for Saturday Night Live, and he just got engaged to Scarlett Johansson. So ideally, I wanted to do a compatibility chart. So I'm looking at both their charts. I'll look at hers later. Um, so beginning with him, they were both born in New York, New York, New York. So Colin Jost um, was born June 29th, 1982. He's a Cancer, Staten Island, New York, and I put 12 p.m. because I can't quite find a birth time on him. He is all air because he's a great writer. He's just won so many awards for writing on probably Comedy Central, Saturday Night Live, you name it, he's done it. So I'll start at the beginning. He has the sun 7 degrees Cancer. This has the sun well, it's not an exact conjunction, but the sun and the North Node are both in Cancer in his 10th house of career, how you're perceived in the world. And he also has a lot in Gemini up there. So his sole dispositor is Mercury in Gemini. So he uses that in his writing, and so it's trining. He's mostly air, so it is trining his whole major stellium in Libra, but his moon is in Libra. Wow, yeah. So let's just get to his Libra. His ascendant is Virgo. Looks like it's Virgo ascendant. So that again would help him in his work, his writing. I believe he graduated from Harvard. So I was looking for higher education in his chart. Kind of looking at Sagittarius, but Gemini, everyone has higher education. You don't have to be a Sagittarius. But yeah, this stellium, well, first of all, Virgo ascendant would make you a very hard worker and analytical. So he's very analytical in his writing. Gemini would give him the fun and the quirkiness, and he loves comedy. So that he's got Venus in Gemini. Venus and Mercury in Gemini, and they're opposing Neptune. They're opposing Neptune on the IC. So yeah, he loves what he does. He loves what he does, and he's the best at what he does. And yeah, it just comes to him naturally. It's truly a gift. It's truly a gift. So his first house is Libra. So naturally he would gravitate towards the arts. Writing, acting, because he has so much air. And Libra is, balance. It's not always harmony and peace, but yeah, I think of it as the arts. So he has Mars, the ruler of Aries, in first house. Mars and Saturn in the first house in Libra. So that can be hard. That could be, that could be very hard work. Which he has naturally, having the Virgo ascendant. Mars would give him ambition and drive because it's the ruler of Aries, and Saturn would give him discipline. So that's probably how he got through Harvard. With all that would definitely help in the first house. So that gives him stamina in his career as well. Saturn's the ruler of Capricorn, of the 10th house. Yeah, so his whole stellium, he has Pluto in the second house. So some of his humor can be a little dark, which is kind of cool. I mean, he works with Pete Davidson and a lot of comedians. So yeah, he can just kind of skate along the edge very adeptly because he is so much Libra and so much Gemini, practically all. So yeah. I'm just going to talk about his stellium. He has Mars, Saturn in his first house, Libra. And then he has Pluto, Moon, and Jupiter all in Scorpio. So I can see the attraction that that Scarlett Johansson had for him. They've been dating for a while. Moon Pluto in Scorpio is, so him and Pete Davidson probably get along fabulous, famously, because Pete is all Scorpio and he's all, pretty much all Libra stellium and Gemini stellium. Although he is a Cancer, his sun in Cancer and his North Node in Cancer, so he was meant to put out his sensitive comedy, put something in the 10th house. So he uses his sensitivity, his creativity, his talent to put it up there, because the opposition to Neptune in the 4th house in where is Neptune, just to make sure, 25 degrees Sagittarius, would help him to give him imagination and to add to his already creative ideas, and that would just make him even more imaginative. So he has Pluto, Moon, and Jupiter all in the 2nd house of money, assets, what you value. So he values his work, and Pluto in the Moon. Well, the Moon is like, what degrees is the Moon? 24 degrees Libra. So that gives him good looks. For one thing. It's in his 1st house. So although his ascendant is Virgo, he has a very, very prominent 1st house. Pluto is 24 degrees Libra. Yeah, wow, he's got some heavy-duty planets in his 1st house. So, Pluto's the ruler of Scorpio. So it's not all sweetness and light in his comedy. I mean, he could cover any subject, go to any depth in his comedy, and just, present it in such a light that everyone would get it. And he would be likable because of all the Libra he has. And the Moon in Libra is very likable. And so anyway, that's how he makes his money. He's able to sort of like bring the news to comedy, and a lot of people like to watch their news that way. And so he's very good at that. And Scorpio is joint assets. And I believe Scarlett Johansson has something in Scorpio. I'll look at that later. His Uranus, changeability, is in the 3rd. Wow, it's in the 3rd house of Gemini. So that's taking his comedy, his communication to a whole other level. Just kind of wacky, off the wall, just not really like mainstream, because Uranus is changeable and wants to liberate. So he likes to liberate. His communication can be erratic and changeable, and that's why he's won so many awards, because he's such a great comedian. So he uses that Uranus in Gemini, and it's only 1 degree. It's 1 degree. 1 degree Sagittarius. So that's higher education and law. He covers so many different subjects in his work. So I talked about his Neptune. So basically, it's kind of like a seesaw pattern. He has a yod from Chiron to his whole stellium, pretty much the whole stellium. Chiron's the wounded healer. He has that in the 9th house. It's in Taurus. And so it's just putting the soul dispositor is Mercury. And it's just trining everything in Libra. So naturally, he would be a great writer. He would have to communicate somehow. He has Moon, Mars, Saturn, and Pluto. He hits you with those. But he could come across in a serious way. He could be like deadpan. into like comedy news over dark subjects and pull it off, pull it off. Um, so Uranus and Neptune are his only fire, and they're in Sagittarius, so that's higher learning. He did go to Harvard. Um, so Neptune gives him imagination. He's very imaginative, uses it in his career, and Uranus is just kind of um, off the wall in his communication, and that's what wins awards. People want unique. They want unique, and Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, so when he gets going, he's on a roll. He gets going, and a lot of people use his writing and his brilliant ideas. So let's see. Yeah, his seventh house is Aries, but I'm just going to look where he has planets. So pretty much everything's in his first and second house in Libra and Scorpio. And assets, he's able to make really good money doing what he does because of the beautiful trine he has to all this air, all this air between Gemini. Venus is doing what you love, communicating, doing stand-up, doing television, writing, especially writing. So yeah, Venus and Mercury are trining Mars, and they're trining Saturn, and they're trining Pluto. So he loves what he does. He's driven. He is driven to write and to deliver his material on powerful subjects, yet do it in a quirky, comedic way. Yeah, and he's been doing it for years. So, to jump, well, actually, you can't just jump up to his midheaven. That's basically it for him. That's basically it. His air just hits you. And then the air, the Libra air, stellium in Libra, is sextile to Neptune. So that, again, helps him in his comedy. 25 degrees Neptune in Sag, just making sure. Yeah, so that, again, helps him. Because a sextile is 60-degree, easy, flowing, harmonious aspect. So, and that's what's forming the yod to his Mercury, the soul dispositor. So they all point to what to do when he grows up. So, yeah, he kind of knows that. Yeah, so basically, that's it. There's some squares, of course, between the Sun and Mars, and that just challenges him to work even harder at his career. It's in his 10th house of career, and to his North Node. So Mars and Saturn are not easy to have in your first house. Mars can be aggression. Saturn sitting in your first, well, it can add a seriousness to his pursuit of the arts. That's what it did for him. If Mars and Saturn were sitting right on his ascendant, which they're not, that could sometimes cause a little depression, but yeah, they're far enough away that I don't think he needs to worry about that. So breaking down his elements, yeah, because his planets are all pretty much covered. Yeah, just he has an opposition from Venus in Gemini to Uranus in Sagittarius, 1 degree. So that they're both mutable signs. And so mutable can just adapt to any situation. I mean, he can just riff off any subject, anywhere, anytime. And he can lay it down. And so he uses that. He uses all this mutability of, imaginative Neptune in Sag, and the other Uranus, I was going to say the other outer planet, the other Neptune, Uranus, the higher octave of Gemini. He uses that and they're opposing Venus. So he uses that in doing what he loves to deliver. I mean, his delivery is rapid fire because of all his air. And the Mars Saturn first house would give it the punch. It would give him serious ambition to get ahead and would, of course, helped him to succeed. And Saturn gave him staying power, and it's also the ruler of Libra. Venus and Saturn can be rulers of Libra, so he uses those as well. Earth, he doesn't have a lot of Earth. He has Chiron and the Ascendant. The Ascendant, however, is in the 12th house of Pisces. That's imagination. So he uses his Neptune, in his career. Uses his imagination through his work, through his writing and its delivery. So that's his only Earth, the Chiron involved in the odd between his whole stellium in Libra and the sextile. The sextile I already talked about to his Neptune. So so I was just looking, I was getting out there. I was just looking at his Venus squaring Uranus. So he rolls with that. He totally rolls with that, and he's won great awards for that. So his water. He is a Sun in Cancer. Sun in Cancer, they can have wacky sense of humor. They can be goofy, just kind of hilarious. They really are funny. They really are funny. Lucille Ball was a